I'm a rebel. I just feel like if it feels good, I'm doing it. I feel like I spent that entire time with that male coach trying to look like I was on the same drugs all the other girls were on. Lauren put me on stage looking like an action figure. Well fed. What I'd really like to do is continue to build a community with cocktails where we are able to have some in-person events, where we are having virtual calls, where the women can learn from each other. I didn't want to necessarily be in a mentor capacity. I want to be more peer-to-peer. I had to giggle a little bit when you said you like to start in childhood, because I know without a doubt I am living my childhood dream. When I think about when I was a little kid, all I wanted to be was
Hey everyone, welcome back to Rebel Roots. I'm Evonne and I am here with an old time friend. I don't think we ever maybe got into, but we crossed paths several times in the bodybuilding scene. And, then I get a message from somebody and they're like, hey, I think this girl would be perfect for your podcast. She just started this new magazine called Cocktails. And then I went down the cocktail magazine path and I'm like, I know her. I was like, we're old buddies on the bodybuilding stage. So welcome, Kristin. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love it.
I was just telling you a little bit. We actually had a whole bodybuilding little talk, which we can probably get into a little bit later in the show. But I kind of love to hear the backstory of how you were raised, who you were as a kid. And do you think that there was tidbits left or that started in your childhood that led you to where you are today?
I had to giggle a little bit when you said you like to start in childhood, because I know without a doubt I am living my childhood dream. Like, when I think about when I was a little kid, all I wanted to be was a professional athlete. I thought the women in the Olympics were just the most amazing, powerful, strongest women. I wanted to be athletic. I wanted to run faster than everybody, do more pull-ups than everybody. Whenever we did the little physical presidential fitness test or whatever, I was always jacked up about it. I wanted to be the best. And often was, I did really, really good in those things as a little girl. Was just obsessed with anything athletic. I really, really, really wanted to be an athlete. But I also was a huge reader. We were just talking about that this morning, my husband and I, how third grade, they were saying on the news, third grade is the year when you go from learning to read to reading to learn. And I was reading John Grisham, and I know the fourth grade. I read just voracious. I loved reading so much. It was all I wanted to do. And once I learned how, it was like I had unlocked the secret that was going to teach me all these things. And it did. I learned so much from reading how to be empathetic, that other people live differently than us, that there's dogs in Alaska that run races in the snow and they have to have their shoes changed. Like, you learn so much from reading. And that just naturally graduated into magazines as I got a little older and was curious about, well, how do you shave your legs? And how do you wash your face? And how to be a girl. And I think it was probably a little more important to me to have magazines like that because I had kind of a weird upbringing with my mom. And she had, I think, 6 husbands before I was 15. So we moved a lot. There was a new husband to get to know. Like, I never met a boyfriend. I always met him when he was already a husband. So I was always moving schools, and books really allowed me to, escape. And the magazines really allowed me to, I just was a little intimidated by my mother. She was, she's amazing and she's very, cool. She's a cool lady, but she just had snakes in her head. We've had many conversations about it, but she just wasn't approachable. And I feel like magazines were really a way for me to learn, as a young woman, how to be a young woman, how to wear your clothes, I was so interested in all these things, clothes, makeup, all of the, teen stuff that you're into. And then as I got older, you're reading I was reading Maxim and Women's Health and magazines that were still probably, wellness focused. And for me, as I started, it's been a long transition getting to actually having the magazine. But for me right now, baby Kristin is very proud of where I have ended up and how I've gotten here, I think.
Well, tell me how the
Thank
magazine
God.
started, because I was reading a little bit about you, just to get caught up with your life, that you went from figure competitions on bodybuilding stage. And then I saw that you own a motocross team,
Motorsports. Yeah.
and then cocktail magazine. How does all three of this fit?
Well, my stepdaughter decided in 2018 that she wanted to try drag racing, and she was terrified of everything at the time. And my husband and I both were kind of like, really? But she kept talking about it, and she was on YouTube watching the videos. And for Christmas one year, my husband said, I think I want to get her a car. So we looked into it, and they weren't very expensive. Plus, he has a body shop, and he's very mechanically inclined. So he was able to get everything ready for it. And we were just going to run some local tracks and see if she liked it, get her used to it, and then see if we wanted to do it in a series. Well, she hadn't even ran a race yet. And our buddy, Tommy, he's actually somebody that we knew from bodybuilding. He competed in Kevin DeHaven's shows a few times, and we became friendly with him. Well, he worked at a company that sold school nutrition or food and, nutrition to different school districts around America. And he called and offered her a sponsorship. So we were like, oh God, what do we do? So we had to find a series for her to run, and we did. And they sponsored her that year. She also had an ice cream company come on board. And that was just the start of me moving away from coaching nutrition and fitness and moving towards the creative aspect of running her sponsorship and posting content for them that they could use on their socials. And that turned into more sponsors coming on board. And next thing we knew, my husband was also drag racing. We bought him a car. This was her last year in the junior dragster last year. She turned 18. So she ran 7 years in that series and was fully sponsored every year. We just saw an opportunity. And I particularly saw an opportunity because my husband was busy running the body shop, where I just thought we could make this a business and we can have more sponsors. We can create more content for them. And it just turned into something. In the meantime, a girlfriend of mine and I had started a podcast in 2020, as did everyone else. And it was called Tomboy, and we loved it. It was really fun. The podcast turned into hoodies because we made some for ourselves and the other girls wanted them. So Tomboy became its own kind of little thing. So I was creating content for that. And, when you're doing these things on your own, you have to learn how to make the graphics, edit the podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
So you just become kind of a jack of all trades at these little things that build your business. And other people started asking me to do some things for them. So it just kind of, all works together in that regard. But the magazine in itself came about because when we started the podcast with Tomboy, I really thought, man, what if we turned this into a magazine?
Mm-hmm.
And my girlfriend was like, nobody reads. Who reads? And I read. I still like to pick up magazines. I love to flip through a magazine while I'm watching television, on the phone, just, like doodling almost. And I just had it in the back of my head from that time, and it just wouldn't go away. Well, then 2023, about January, I was thinking about the magazine, and at the same time, I was also trying to figure out how to get more sponsors for the race team and how to network without actually having to go to a BNI group and have these meetings that I have to be physically in person for. Maybe I have to meet a couple times with other people in the group. And now I'm at Starbucks with some guy in a suit that I don't know and talking about how to get him referrals for his insurance business. Like that didn't seem like what was going to go down with me. And I can just see my husband, if somebody calls him and is like, "Hey, Bo, I just saw Kristin at Starbucks with some dude in a tie." He'd be like, even if he knew what I was doing, that ain't me. And I also know so many women that are building their own businesses, whether it's coaching, food, clothing. Maybe they're but maybe they're influencers, creators, and they have their own brands that they're working with and trying to promote. Another platform to do those things is never a bad idea. It's just never a bad idea. I also know these women that are creating content for their business. It gets hard coming up with new content, fresh content. It also is helpful if somebody else is vouching for you.
Yep.
So for me, the magazine serves so many purposes. It just fulfills a childhood dream. I mean, I still can't believe I did it. I also feel like a huge part of it for me was I just wanted to be around other women that were doing what I was doing. I didn't want to necessarily be in a mentor capacity. I wanted it to be more peer to peer. And for me, the magazine will evolve and will hopefully entails, in-person events and some virtual calls and meetings. And just in my mind, I just see it as a meeting of the minds of these women that all have a similar goal, but, come together for the community along with the promotion aspect of it. So for me, it's just a love letter to all the women I've ever met that have influenced me, been a positive influence, taught me something, showed me a better way. I know too many women, and that to me is one of the best things about competing. I met the most amazing women all over the country that get it done, figure it out, don't wait around for help, listen to themselves. I mean, I could go on and on about the women involved. To me, it's a love letter to those women. I also really wanted there to be an aspect of it that was not sexual, but provocative in a sense, so that in the back of the magazine, we have, for lack of a better word, a boudoir section. And I've had boudoir photographers submit photos. We've done full layouts of just one particular girl. I've taken some of the photos. They've been submitted by other photographers in other cases. But for me, it's just important that it was done in a very classy way that would be inspiring to women, show women there can be multiple sides to your personality and your identity, and we're not just one thing. So I feel like having a place to do that where it's tasteful, it's promoted by the women, it's enjoyed by the women, it's not for the male gaze. Like, I'm sure there are men that see the magazine and aren't upset about it, but it's intended for women, and it is just been everything I ever thought it could be, everything I wanted it to be. I'm so happy.
So you're going on your third year with the magazine. Did it happen?
No, actually, we put out our first issue last April.
Okay.
It took me about a year to get everybody organized. My first step when I started thinking about it was just to reach out to the women I knew that I thought might be interested. And I just said, "Hey, I think I'm going to do this thing. Would you be down?" And everybody said yes. So then it was kind of like, oh, damn, well, what's it going to actually look like? And then can I get it printed, and can it be the quality I want it to be? There were a few things I had to work out, but in 2026, it's actually pretty easy to get a magazine printed. So
really,
I've been very, very happy with how it has come out so far. I can't believe I got these women to do this with me. I try my best to make it not be an extra job. I really want them to repurpose content they've already used it should work for them. I don't want it to be a burden or anything that's dragging them down. I tell them all, if you can't contribute this time, but you want to be involved next time, you're fine. Like, everybody's on the email list. You're all going to stay in the loop. We're not losing anybody. And if you've got to take a break because you have other things going on, like, I'm all for that. I know we've all got to be flexible, and it's got to be easier. We're not going to do it these days.
Well, I love what you said, because I think that more recently that women just don't know who they are. Correct? Like, we feel like that we have to be in this box, but that's not the case. Like, you can be multiple things and still be the same person, right? Like, I love the tomboy, because you feel like if you are, stereotyped as a tomboy, that you don't have that feminine side of you, and that's not true.
Yes.
You can have all of that. And everyone's like, well, I need my calling. I need my calling. And I always tell them, I was like, well, what if your calling is all of that? Like, why do we have to put one label on yourself and your mission? You can do everything. And I love when you said that, because everyone thinks I'm crazy when I say that, but that's not true. You can be a badass CEO and be a magazine, and then go in dirt and drag race the next day or the same day, and then be a loving mom and be a supportive wife in all of those areas. And yeah, I think that's what's so cool about being a female, is that, guys don't get that. Like, if they're on their feminine side, they get called out for that. But women is like, we have a special duty calling, and we can be everything. And as long as you're comfortable in owning it. And I think that's where, with the social media, and if you don't get the likes on that post, or if you get the trolls in there, like, I've seen so many pivot. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, own it. Like, who cares? I just had my birthday and turned 51 the other day, and someone's like, what do you, are you worried about the number? I'm like, no, I feel like I am coming out to the person that my authentic self that I was supposed to be. And I don't give a damn. And I think as you get older, that's one of the qualities that you get, is like, I don't give a damn. You can judge whatever you want. You don't pay my bills. And
no,
there's so many
it's beautiful
younger girls that post that, but that they don't believe they're, it's just a like. But anyway, I love that you said that, because yes, I believe 100%.
Well, I struggled so much because I wanted the magazine to be named Tomboy, and the way that I got around, I mean, when you hear Tomboy, you hear Tomboy, but the visual for me and the logo that I landed on, that to me felt like it depicted the brand the most, was Tomboy with basically in the Playboy font with the bunny, but I had the bunny with headphones. And I did that originally because I wanted to draw a hard line. Tomboy is not for children. I didn't want my niece wearing the bunny, but a grown woman, a 40-year-old woman that was maybe called a tomboy, because they don't necessarily throw that word around like they used to. And I really feel like I still feel like I'm not done with it. I just don't know what it looks like. And I landed on Cocktails for the magazine because I kept telling women, well, I want to call it Tomboy. And they were all like, well, I'm not a tomboy. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, you ride a motorcycle. Like, I know you wear pink lipstick and your hair's bleached blonde and you're curvaceous and you're gorgeous, but you ride a motorcycle. You figured it out. And to me, tomboys are just women that are willing to figure it out, get their hands dirty, build the thing, get dirt under their nails. But you can turn around and go get your nails done and get that dirt cleaned out underneath.
So how did you land on Cocktails then?
Well, for me, I'm from South Carolina, so the Gamecocks are a big deal in town, obviously. Go Cocks. And there are different, plays on the Gamecock name around town. And I brainstormed, one of the issues is all the cool names are taken. I mean, I would think of a cool name and I Google it, it'd be a magazine already. And I just was racking my brain. And one day I don't even know where it came from. I just was like, cocktails. And to me, what it represents and what it means is just we're a mix of all these things. We're not one note.
Mhm.
We can be anything. And also to play on the gamecock. So I just feel like it was a little cheeky with the tails, like, little tails. And I just thought it was kind of cheeky and cute. But I'm not sold on it, Evonne. I still dream about making it tomboy somehow. I just don't know what it will look like. And then I tossed around different names with a girlfriend of mine because we were talking about how the magazine will evolve and the community we want to build. And so I'm not sold on it, and we're not stuck here. I'm willing to rebrand, evolve. I try not to get stuck on anything, but I also think the community will decide that as well. So I'm just trying to let things happen as they happen and go with my gut, really. That's all I've done so far. So I'm just going to keep doing that.
I love it. And I love how you said exactly what you said. Like, we're a mix of all of these things, and it's okay. So, man, that resonates. So
Good.
what's, kind of take me back because, again, I feel like we always talk about our success and, how you did, but man, I know you had to have some struggles with this. So what was, tell me something that, you thought was a failure at the time, but it was just a pivot to get you where you needed to go.
There have been a number of times that we thought we had a sponsor on board and have kind of been banking on that sponsor, and then they weren't on board for the year, and we have had to find somebody quickly. I don't necessarily consider those failures, but they are definitely roadblocks and hiccups. Honestly, I'm going to have a hard time finding a failure because I don't really view anything as a failure. I have learned at every turn, and I just refuse to take the L. Like, even if it was an L on paper, we're going to make it a W in our mind and our perspective. We're going to get the lesson from it. So, yeah, I definitely know I've had failures. When you said that earlier about, you've gotten on stage before and not been at your best, or you knew you probably shouldn't have gotten up there. The one time I did that, actually, I've done it twice, but the one time I did that was the one time I was like pegged to win the show. So you want to talk about, like, they were expecting me to come in and win.
Uh-huh.
There had been, I don't know if you remember, Isaac Hines used to have hardbody.com.
Yes.
And he would post previews and competitor lists and give his bets on who he thought. Well, he had me pegged for this one. I get there, and it was one of the hardest preps I've ever had. I was on my 11th or 12th pro show in 2 years. I had done 5 one year, 5 the next year, and it was my first show of that season. And my body just was not responding. I had done 2-a-days all through the off season, was just really overtraining, not eating well enough. I didn't have a coach at the time that trusted me. So it was like, because I was on the other side of the country, he just assumed that he needed, I think he just assumed everybody's cheating. They're not all doing what I tell them to do.
Yeah.
And so when I would say, I'm doing the work, but nothing's happening, he would add cardio and take food away. And I'm thinking, well, I'm reading online that I need a cheeseburger, and was just scared to give myself that permission to eat it because I've signed up with this coach. I'm going to do what he tells me to do.
That was our mentality
Idiotic.
back then. You did exactly what you were told. There was no pivot. So
There was no question. Especially, I was training with he was the head coach in the country at the time. He was one of 2 at least. And you take their word for it. Well, that was the first time he ever suggested that I might need help, from, Clen or T3 or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't think the answer is to do that. I think we need to test things, find out what's going on with my body. I ended up getting in an accident running at the dam where a really big man ran into me at night because, you got to get your cardio in. So I was out there at dark, and a football player at Carolina hit me and broke 2 of my ribs. My dumbass wrapped myself up because it didn't hurt when it was tight, I wrapped myself up and continued to run and get ready for that show. I'm pretty sure I have scar tissue from it now. Yeah, just idiotic things, and still didn't get on stage looking right. The funniest part about all of that is the second I got off stage, I didn't do any exercise. I ate what I wanted. And, I always was a dork. Like I don't know if it's because of books or what, but hearing about or reading about a girl with some granola or like eating a fruit salad or like a big bowl of greens, I get so jacked up over like a big bowl of healthy food. I know you probably are the same, but I'm just like, I'll take a big bowl of good food, healthy food any day. Evonne, I dropped like 10 pounds almost overnight, because I just was so inflamed and everything was just so puffy. But yeah, that was probably my biggest failure. And I feel like it's a failure because I didn't listen to myself. It's the one time I knew better and I didn't listen to myself. I thought to myself, well, I'll never regret being tough. I'll never regret, putting my head down and grinding it out. And I don't, but it was a big, big lesson. I feel like I didn't trust myself, and I should have.
Which is my lesson number 2, is that we don't trust our guts enough. So, yeah, you're just validating everything that I say and believe. And I think that's another one, is that your gut, women's intuition is the most powerful thing, again, that I think we have too, and so many of us don't listen to that. And you knew, but again, if you didn't have that experience, then you wouldn't learn that lesson. Like, I know myself. I know to trust my gut. Like, it just validated what you already was speculating, I feel. So had to go through it,
Absolutely.
Right? To learn the lesson.
Absolutely. And really, it was everything I needed it to be. It showed me I needed a break. It showed me bodybuilding wasn't the end all be all, because I was stuck in that trying to qualify for the Olympia, and they had just brought out the points. So you could get there by just doing a lot of shows and placing well. And I was doing well. I was landing in the top 5 every show until that one. And yeah, after that, I took a long break. I didn't come back till Lauren Valentino helped me. And the difference in coaching was so night and day. I feel like I spent that entire time with that male coach trying to look like I was on the same drugs all the other girls were on. Lauren put me on stage looking like an action figure, well fed. The amount of food I ate when I was training with Lauren was insane. And I was doing pretty much the same amount of work. Different type of work because she's just smarter and knows the female body better. But wow, what a difference. Training with a woman that understands females. Yeah, completely different change in my physique. Fruit was allowed. The supplementation was different. Nothing ever came out of her mouth about drugs or anything that I wasn't willing to do. She just was perfect for me. And it was the best experience I've ever had at a show. It gave me a new trust in myself that, okay, you can make these good decisions again. You can compete and it not be the center of your world, because I like it enough that I enjoy it, but I don't have to be on an Olympia stage to feel like I've been successful at it.
Why did you're not competing anymore?
No, I actually switched to bikini in 2022 because I turned 40 and I love competing enough that I wanted to get up there again. It was an odd experience. It was really odd. I enjoyed the preparations for it, but there's just something different about getting on stage, bikini posing and doing the figure. I didn't feel respected at all.
So when was your last show? Was
And
that in 2022?
that was 22. 22. I did the Charlotte Europa.
Okay.
It was close. I could run up there. I didn't prep that long for it. It was like 6 weeks. I don't know. I feel like I did great. I feel like there were things I would change, but they were all in the posing. Like I don't know why, but it never occurred to me there would be comparisons. So like as soon as I heard them say to turn to the back, I was kind of like, what? We didn't even pose to the front yet. Like there was no front pose. Right. They just kept turning us to the back. And I get it. I mean, that's part of it. But it just was odd. I don't know. It was definitely a different experience than figure. I felt different posing for figure. I felt just more like an athlete. And I don't know. I did bikini because it was where my physique landed, where they were with the muscularity and all those things. But I mean, now I don't even know if I'd be muscular enough for the fit model or whatever they're doing now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was odd. And like I said, I mostly did it because I wanted to get up there at 40. I wanted to prep myself. And it was kind of a challenge because my husband always was saying, well, you could get up there now. You don't even need to prep. You could get up there now. You're in great shape. I'm like, I probably need a little work. But it was all in all an okay experience. But no, I don't think bikini was for me.
So what's in the future? We're going to get cocktails up and running. What else I know there's probably more.
Well, what I'd really like to do is continue to build a community with cocktails where we are able to have some in-person events, where we are having virtual calls, where the women can learn from each other. Right now, the plan is to have 5 or 6 leaders or pillars in the community that are not necessarily the experts. They're more of the moderators. So they're corralling the women so that it will be more of a peer-to-peer, rather than like a mentor-mentee kind of deal, like I mentioned before. So my plan is just to keep making it everything I can make it. I think there might be some type of digital aspect in the future, but I really don't want there to be. I like the fact that it's in print only right now because especially with the section in the back where the women are, taking some clothes off. I like that it feels a little exclusive, a little hard to, get your hands on, and it's not so quick to access digitally. So I don't know that I'll explore that aspect more than I have already, but I do think there needs to be some sort of digital interaction, whether it's QR codes that link you to more information about the article you're reading or the creator of that article that you're reading. Because right now, if you get the magazine, every issue has a 12-week training program in it because it is quarterly. So there's a training program. I wanted it to have all the aspects of all the magazines that I loved. So in my mind, it's like if Maxim and Women's Health had a baby. So there's always training, always nutrition, always mindset. We have a little doggy section because there's so many of us dog moms out there. I have 8, so I'm all about all the dog moms. I just wanted to hit every aspect of our personalities because we just are all split.
Who would be, if you could have like your idol in the magazine, who is that? Who's the one person you're like, this would just be iconic?
Well, I already had one, and it's Celeste. Celeste Bonin was a former WWE Women's Diva champ that turned her notoriety and fame into a clothing line, and she patented the booty scrunch on the leggings.
Yep.
So all of you girls that like your little flattering ruching on your butt cheeks, you can thank her for that. She to me is just, and she's a little younger than me, so I actually think it's kind of cool because I feel a lot younger than I am in some regards, and on the other side I feel like Methuselah. But she just to me is somebody that has seen an opportunity, grabbed it, had not had the skill set necessarily, but developed it as she needed to, and just seized opportunities as they came to her. So I had reached out to her before I had printed my first issue. And I'm like, hey, we had some interaction before because I had been ambassador for the clothing and helped promote the clothing. So we were friendly, but I just reached out to her. I'm like, hey, I'd really like to do this thing and I'd love for you to be on my cover. Would you be down? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So not only did she say yes, she actually has become a really integral part of the planning of the magazine, and she's had contributions in every issue so far. But other than Celeste, I feel like Chelsea Handler is my number one, and I've already emailed her, messaged her on Instagram, sent her multiple emails actually, and I think I'm going to do a piece on her no matter what, and just try to get some involvement or info out of her that way. But Chelsea Handler, and that really might just be it. I think she's a baddie.
I love how you lit up on that. Like, you're very passionate about this, and it truly shows, and it brings you so much joy.
I love it.
All right, final thoughts. What?
I just was going to say, I've got Lauren on my radar hard.
Okay.
So she's like
perfect.
You know, she is.
Yes.
We've talked about it. She just has had so much going on right now, but I will drop everything and anything when she's ready to do that.
Well, and I just think it's so cool because, I mean, even with the magazine, I mean, that's how we reconnected, was that you reached out and you were doing a cover on somebody and was trying to get in contact with one of our owners. And
yeah,
I mean, just look how many, I think it's pretty cool that from this project, not project, but this business, that it's connecting you with, old relationships. And I can't wait to talk to you by the end of the year to see who it is.
3? Is it 3? There's 3 girls in the magazine that I've known since 7th grade. I love it. I don't know how we all ended up in fields that were fitness related and wellness oriented, but it has worked out so beautifully. I'm so lucky. And it's exactly why I wanted to do it. I didn't have enough female, femininity in my life. I'm at the drag strip. I'm with my husband. We're with the body shop guys. And I wanted more femininity. I live in the woods. You can't tell I'm in my motorhome right now because we're remodeling my house, but there's goats behind me. So yeah, we live out. If you want to interact, you really got to go look for it. So,
and I love print. I think that it's very noble for you to start, where we're at in the world with digital, and to do this. I mean, that's a bold statement.
I'm a rebel.
And that's badass. And I love it.
I'm a rebel. I just feel like if it feels good, I'm doing it. And you cannot worry about, well, what is everybody else doing? Is this a good idea? I think there are a lot of people that are reverting or rebelling a little bit against the digital. Substack becoming a bigger platform, and it's all reading and literary. I think there are some positive signs for us. I don't think we're just going to sink into the abyss of screens.
No. And I think, I just read an article this morning while I was drinking coffee, and the whole online course, if you're doing an online course, it's dead. People want connectivity now, and they want in person, and they want this relationship. And so I think we're all, history always repeats itself, right? And it might be a little bit better than the second time around. But if you are, honored enough to be a little bit older, then we know what's coming, and we know how to tweak it before these, younger generations see it, that it's going to be the first time for them. But we've been around the world a couple of times, so we know what's coming.
We do. It's so funny you said that, because I asked my stepdaughter, I'm like, have you read the magazine?
She's like, no, I do TikTok.
She hasn't read a book. As her homeschool teacher, I feel confident in saying that. Yeah, I think she might have read 2 books. There were a lot of movies for book reports, but I get it. I just also think everything comes back around. And like I said, I do think there's a place for a digital aspect to the magazine. I just think if I stay true to the print only, we can go deeper and farther than if it were print, because people will feel safer and it will feel more exclusive, and we'll see.
I love
We'll
it.
see. Everything evolves.
Final thoughts for the tomboy out there, or the one you've dropped so much information in here, but sum it all up in 1-2 sentences.
I really feel like I've been on this track the last couple of weeks. Decenter men in your life. And that is coming from somebody that is obsessed with their husband. I love my husband so much. I could spend literally every waking minute with him, and do spend most of them with him. That being said, you will get so much farther, so much quicker, and find that person you're obsessed with and that is equally obsessed with you the more you focus on yourself. The younger you are and the sooner you start bettering yourself, working on yourself, getting rid of any snakes you have in your head, making yourself better, just becoming harder to kill. And I mean that mentally, physically. You got to lift. You got to be strong in your body, or you're not going to be able to be strong in your mind. And to me, I have been on a kick lately. Make yourself the center.
I love that. And I cannot wait to watch your journey. And I'm so glad that we reconnected. And
I appreciate
where do they find the magazine at?
www.cocktailsmag.com. We have a monthly subscription option for $8.99. So if you want to pay monthly and get the 4 issues in your box, you can. And also be on the lookout, because something I would really, really like to do is make the magazine more of a box. So when you get a magazine, you're getting an experience, whether it's bath bombs, a candle, whether the box is fitness oriented and has bands, or, gloves, whatever it is. I want in the future, I would really like the magazine to be an experience where you're opening the box and you're like, oh, that would be my goal.
I love it.
But yeah, everybody get it at our website. And we just had our last issue come out this week, actually, with Chrissy Diaz on the cover. She is a Lululemon ambassador here in town that is opening up a red light and UV therapy studio to accompany her training studio. So she's gorgeous. I've known her for years. And for me, putting her in the magazine was just like a dream, because she embodies all of the things, the kindness, the figuring it out, the just going after things, taking care of yourself. The central theme is of everybody on the cover of the magazine is they take care of themselves first.
Love it.
First.
Number one, VIP.
It's just so important. It's so important, because we will be last.
Yep.
We will be last. We have proven throughout history we are willing to be last, and it has not served us.
Nope. I love it.
So,
well, I am honored that you came on here today. I love what you're doing and can't wait to see where you're going.
I appreciate it, Evonne. Thank you so much.